I actually do say that some women can vote.
Yes.
If they're not on child support,
Okay.
alimony, they're net taxpayers, they're in the military or have an infrastructure job. My point is, if we made those the requirements, maybe landowners, business owners, but if we made that the requirement, most women wouldn't vote anyway.
Folks, welcome back to another episode of There's No Way You Actually Believe That. Now, in a previous semester, I explored the rise and criticism of the performative male. The performative male who traffics in matcha and Joan Didion novels as a means of appealing to the female gaze. The performative male's very essence has been distilled into an unholy stew meant to be served to whichever woman is closest to him at your local overpriced vintage shop, cafe, or cocktail bar. However, the performative male did not appear from the ether. Like the biblical story of Adam and Eve, the performative male came into the world with another. Except this time, Eve actually came first, and is also a Republican for some reason.
Why would you want to remove just from yourself the right to vote?
I found out that only 5% of women wanted the right to vote.
Because they've been conditioned by men to think that they shouldn't have a vote.
I mean, that's what they say.
Ooh, God. Yes, the right-wing pick-me, which in my opinion is the only subgenre of pick-me that really still exists. The pick-me, which had its heyday probably like 2 to 4 years ago. People were making memes all over the place about this in like 2021. Basically, a pick-me girl is just a girl who puts down other girls in an attempt to look better and more unique than them for men, so that boys will pick her.
I'm pretending not to know about Facetune. One time I was showing a group of people my old, embarrassing, like terribly Facetune photos, and in front of guys too, and this girl was like, what is Facetune? People do that? Okay. Cleaning up a guy's house after a party or a pregame and being like, I just have to do this, I'm sorry. No, you don't.
Yes, people were very mean to pick-me's, okay? Those who were not like the other girls. And apparently the term originates from Grey's Anatomy, which is an instructional program for medical students to teach them about workplace professionalism.
So pick me. Choose me. Love
Y'all
me.
be weak in the knees. Stand up! Stand up!
But in social media or TikTok parlance, the pick-me quickly declined and was replaced with not a girl's girl. Now, if being a pick-me is an active state of being, not being a girl's girl is somehow worse, because you can stop being a pick-me. If you're doing pick-me, you can stop that. But if you're not a girl's girl, that's who you are. If you're not a girl's girl, that's like being Estonian. You can't stop being Estonian. You just are Estonian. That's what you are. Shout out Estonia, by the way. But this not a girl's girl criticism is the 2023 to 2024 version of the pick-me. And most famously, it's how Lily J, who was Ethan Slater, aka SpongeBob SquarePants' wife, who left her after starting an affair with Ariana Grande, described Ariana. Now, I typically don't dive into celebrity drama. I'm above that. I discuss important things, like the nation of Estonia. And I know this isn't really my lane, not even the point of this video, but there was this whole discourse about these terms, pick me and not a girl's girl. Are these terms helpful, productive? Is it internalized misogyny? I have no idea. I'm a man. And also there's like 100 articles in this in like Elle and The Cut by people who are much smarter than me that you can go read if you're interested. However, I will say this. People criticizing a woman whose husband cheated on her as engaging in internalized misogyny for saying that the homewrecker in question is not a girl's girl. Like, can she get a hall pass on this one? I feel like you're owed a hall pass. Like, if my husband cheated on me with a 6-month-old at home, not a girl's girl would be the tip of the iceberg of insults that I'd be coming up with. I'd become the Joker. I'd be outside Ariana Grande's apartment building with the kid, making him hold a sign that says, "Why daddy, why?" I'd be on TikTok live calling my husband a pencil d***, saying Ariana hasn't had a hit since 2016, you know, going low. I feel like if you're wronged in certain ways, you deserve the right to go low, okay? Without people being like, well, can we hold space for learning and growth, please? You know, love is complicated. Relationships are hard. One day your husband is with you in bed, and the next day he's cast as Tin Man, and the day after that, he's f***ing Ariana Grande. But I digress. What is this video about again? The point is, over time, it became unfashionable, both to be a pick-me or to call people pick-me's. It fell out of the mainstream, but as I mentioned, there's one group of pick-me's still left standing, and it's a multi-gender, multi-racial, multi-sexuality, I don't know what the term is for that one, group of people I'm talking, of course, about the right-wing pick-me. And this kind of pick-me is a pick-me for profit.
I'm not the biggest fan of female politicians. I think generally we're too emotional.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, do I want, in the U.S., I know more about the U.S. political system,
Yep.
so do I want someone with the nuke bomb that could get their period?
In a way, you have to respect it. Their entire business model is insulting and degrading whatever group they represent, whether it's women, gays, black people, in order to get views and money from their conservative, straight, white male audience. I respect it. I also famously make a living on the internet. I managed to do it without debasing myself, but not everyone's as good as I am. And let's not be reductive. I'm not saying that every conservative female creator is a pick-me. I'm saying that most of them are.
I don't hang out with anyone really less attractive than me. There's too much drama. Women need to understand that you can't hate on men for giving up all the best years of your lives, where realistically you guys are probably not living a life like we're living, where we can just go on yachts every weekend, no jobs, travel, everything's paid for, taken care of, partying nonstop. What are you guys doing? Probably hustling, working hard, doing all those things.
Again, or specifically the ones that clearly make content for a straight male audience, which is unfortunately a decent chunk. And you can always tell. I know I've spoken out against authenticity policing before, but you can always tell when these people actually believe what's coming out of their mouth, or if it's a grift for clicks. The right-wingers who do it for the love of the game, who actually think like college is a scam and the white race is being genocided or some shit, they have a sauce, okay, that the pick-me's just can't recreate. For instance, who could forget Lily Gaddis, the trad/conservative creator who burst onto the scene about a year ago with quite an opening argument.
Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke-ass immigrants fresh off the boat looking for a green card. Yes, they are probably gold diggers.
Yes, I think I jogged some people's memory with that clip. And obviously, again, she's a racist piece of etc., etc. But there's an element of like, I don't even believe you. Like, it's so clearly rage bait. It's so clearly part of a content strategy. There is no way that she talked like that before filming that TikTok and deciding to try and get famous. And her long game worked out. Now she's got hundreds of thousands of followers. She's still uploading here on YouTube, which again, YouTube, I don't know how that's allowed. I don't know how she's not breaking your rules, but I am. But I mean, okay, I'm not mad. Don't put in the paper that I'm mad.
And new clothes are so expensive that I can't. And I'm sick of going to thrift stores and fighting with Mexicans, okay? Now, the only good thing there, the only redeeming factor for Mexicans is that they have such horrible style that they don't really want the things I want.
Again, I'm trying to feign anger, but I just don't believe her. And that doesn't make this any less harmful, but there's a fascinating tragedy underneath the surface here that needs to be explored. And that's what I mean, that there's a difference between just being a right-wing creator and being a right-wing pick-me creator. Like, there's a difference. For instance, there's trad wives out there, right, who make content about being a trad wife. Life with the kids, God, doing whatever your husband says, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean. Baking bread, like, it's just a subgenre of lifestyle content. I get it. But then there are trad wives who are basically just doing, like, softcore pornography for conservative men. Just straight 1950s mommy ASMR, essentially. And that's not so great. Like, yes, King, you are so right. Modern women, they're all come to mommy. Mommy's gonna make you some cookies. All women are Jezebels. We love you so much. Mommy loves you. Because the Venn diagram of who the audience is for that latter type of content and who the audience is for this far right white nationalist content is a fucking circle. And I can prove it using cherry-picked information and straw man arguments. You see, there's actually been a bit of a civil war going on amongst the right-wing pick-me's recently, and it is absolute cinema. And honestly, I think it ultimately proves that all of these women are pining for the same audience of like a million straight white guys between like the ages of 14 and 24. Probably 34 if we're being honest. I don't know. I'm just making shit up at this point, but that's what I would guess. So let me introduce to you to all these characters, okay? We've got Sarah Stock, a Jubilee regular and white nationalist with incredible takes such as gay marriage is fake marriage, and even worse, does anybody put salt in their coffee? No, we don't, Sarah. And also, you're a freak.
We already have a dominant culture based on European and Christian values and identity.
Then we have Emily Wilson, aka Emily Saves America, also a Jubilee regular, who gained infamy with her spirited defense of slavery.
That's fine. I think if everyone in a state wants something, go ahead and have it.
So if everyone in Alabama wanted slavery back, you'd be okay with that?
Sure. If everyone in the state wants it, go ahead. What do I give a shit?
All right. Well, let's go next topic.
I mean, great. I feel like I'm doing wrestling intros right now, except for racist white women. But whatever. Then we have Pearl Davis, aka Just Pearly Things, who's a bit of a right-wing pick-me OG. I know I haven't even introduced you to the drama yet, but the smart money bet would be on Pearl, because she's been in this game for a minute.
When women are young, women kind of start off the back as whores.
I say divorce should be banned. Ban divorce. Let's take marriage back for the people that actually believe in marriage.
Modern men have to work 5 times harder than their grandfathers did for women 20 times worse than what their grandmothers were.
Incredible. So here's what went down. Sarah posted an engagement photo on Twitter, just captioned, "I won," and showing off her engagement ring. Very innocuous, very on brand, obviously, for someone who espouses the need to, expand the white race or whatever. Yeah, she's putting her money where her mouth is. I respect it. Then Pearl Davis hits her back, though, with hottest right-wing e-girl taken off the market, parentheses, conservative women will always use their marriage and family to build their brand. Whoa. Okay, look. So, in case you haven't noticed, this is like my Roman Empire, by the way. So again, as a reminder, all of Pearl's content is just on women. Like, it's for men. She's like talking about how men should be allowed to cheat and stuff. It's rage bait. But kind of a sticking point in this corner of the internet over the years has been, well, Pearl, you keep talking about women needing to do this traditional lifestyle, but where's your man? And I think as part of that, she's been kind of known to go off the rails against other, I guess, more like conventionally attractive conservative pick-me's on the internet, accusing them of being like little more than like e-thoughts. That's the dynamic at play here. But no worries, because Sarah's gonna defend herself. Once you stop getting ran through by black guys, it could happen to you too. I'm not gonna be able to get through this. Okay, so racism has entered the chat, and that means Emily Saves America is not far behind, because she's gonna chime in to clown on Sarah's ring size. Emily Saves America out of nowhere with the chair. And look, I don't think this is like a Jeremiah ring situation, is it? I don't know. What's a standard rock size nowadays? Is that small? It seems a little small, but like still in the range of standard-ish. I don't know. You guys let me know. And we will come back to Emily because she's the least trad-coded out of all these women. And I think there's something there. But then Sarah responds, "Where's your ring, Emily?" Spicy, spicy. And then new character alert. Morgan Ariel, who is a trad Christian nationalist, anti-Semite, who's also unmarried, fires off on Emily's snarky ring comment with, "You give it up for free, ho. Might want to sit this one out." And hilariously, by the way, out of all the tweets so far, that's the one that got flagged for hate speech. But no worries, because speaking of hate speech, Pearl claps back with, "Morgan, you are a single mother with a public video admitting you have HPV. You may want to sit this one out too." Now, at this point, I think everyone just sort of decided to take a breather, let cooler heads prevail. All these ladies, they're all supposed to be fighting for the same thing, right? So there's no reason to keep this going. You suck black and probably have AIDS. Like, where did these people come from? I swear to God. I mean, these ladies are just idling at 100 miles an hour at all times. Next from Emily. "Morgan, your baby daddy abandoned you. You're raising a bastard child. But yet somehow, someway you think you're better than me or anyone on this app? You gave it up for free, got left in the dust, and now post rage bait on X to supplement for the inadequacy of your monthly child support payments." This is what people think that the Kendrick Drake beef was, by the way. This is actual beef, though. That was a child's disagreement compared to this.
I hate you like I'm young.
But here's really the magnum opus, and this is going to be in the Louvre one day, so take a screenshot, just a final shot across the bow, from Morgan. "None of that is true, Emily, but unlike you, I don't lie, so here are some facts. You got fingered in the middle of a hotel lobby at a TP USA event while everybody watched and there were families around. You brag about having sex with married MAGA dads and doing drugs. You have been completely ran through by both single and married men in the right wing. You call young virgins losers and encourage them to have premarital sex, and you're pro-abortion. You're a disgusting feminist whore with a Jezebel spirit who uses filters in all of her videos and lives in rebellion to God while grifting off the conservative movement, and simultaneously trashes women who desire to live God-honoring lifestyles because their engagement rings didn't cost enough or their lifestyle isn't flashy enough. But yeah, I'm the one who needs money, you gold-digging hoe, so yes, I am better than you. You got fingered in a hotel lobby. You're a homewrecker. You're a feminist whore. The Jezebel spirit. Let me tell you something. I will forgive Jubilee for every psychopath they've ever brought on, for every white nationalist they've ever platformed, if they bring these people in to do an actual debate. I want to see 20 tradwives versus 1 Jezebel spirit. Or middle ground, is it okay to get fingered in a hotel lobby? Once again, I'm simply presenting new ideas. And obviously there's more tweets, but I mean, that's pretty much the whole story. But also, apparently, the married man that Emily allegedly hooked up with at that Turning Point Republican convention is a dude named Elijah Schaefer, who is also the current boss of Sarah Stock, the lady who's getting engaged. Very messy, very messy. And if you're wondering why I brought all this up, it's for one, because this is hilarious, but two, because it underlines the tragedy of being a right-wing pick-me. Because when you make your entire career being a woman who shits on other women for views, is it not poetic that you eventually become the woman who herself gets shit on? Question mark? Like you're putting on a performance for a group of people that you will never be a part of, aka misogynistic straight men who think you should be property. And you can make money from doing that, but if you think that energy isn't ultimately going to come back around to you, I think you're sorely mistaken. I'll give a more specific example. Another reason a lot of the other big right-wing pick-me's on Emily specifically is because she is pro-abortion rights. And honestly, this is how I know Emily is doing a right-wing pick-me grift, because you can see the human beneath the performance kind of like leak through the cracks when she talks about abortion versus when she talks about other issues. Let me roll 2 clips here and just notice the difference in sauce, if you will.
So I've said that one of the biggest mistakes that this country made is that they allow women to vote.
I'm not gonna lie. Ever since we started voting, it's really gone downhill.
Wow.
It has.
Yeah.
It's like, how are women better off? They're all like working jobs, miserable, depressed, single. I don't understand. I would happily give my husband my bank account and not vote. I would assume, as an intelligent man, he knows what's best for all of us.
As someone who's pro-choice across the board, if it was me in charge, I would have every state the woman gets to choose, okay? Like I said, Republicans hate that. I know. See, there you go. But that's what I believe as a woman. And it's one of those things where I'm like, you know, if they made it state by state, and 90% of people in a state wanted that, I don't agree with that. I would move out of the state. I don't like the government interfering on women's bodies, the same with the vaccine.
Now, it's possible that I'm being too charitable, but you can tell when she's just like spewing bullshit that she thinks will get clicks versus on abortion when she's a little more reserved, a little more honest. And her beliefs on abortion make sense. She's like a millennial blonde woman from LA. That's what I assumed you would believe about abortion. And she still makes videos about abortion being bad or whatever, but she doesn't want it to be illegal, which is a convenient way that she can keep up her grift. But it is fascinating to me that you can almost tell that when she decided to go down this road of being a right-wing grifter, that somewhere along the line she made an agreement with herself that this was a line she's not going to cross. When she locked up the true Emily Wilson, who was trying to be an actress in LA or whatever, and decided to just go on podcasts and talk about how states should be able to bring back slavery. She told the devil, I will say or do anything to get famous, but I will not speak out against this one issue. And you know what? I actually have no respect for that whatsoever. Because Emily gets to be this hardcore MAGA conservative influencer and pat herself on the back for taking the middle ground, quote unquote, on the abortion issue, but she can only do that because she enjoys the protections of living in California. But what about all those women who don't have the privilege of living in a blue state that Emily herself reviles at every turn imaginable? Oh yeah, those women just get to fucking die Because in states like Texas or Georgia, which have the strong conservative governance that Emily espouses constantly, if you have a complicated pregnancy or something goes wrong, you have to literally be on your deathbed before doctors can do anything. And sometimes it's too late. And this is what's so infuriating. This is what's so tragic about the right-wing pick-me, which is that you're okay advocating for the rollback of rights for whatever your group is because you think it'll never happen, but it will. And it is happening. The Secretary of Defense of the United States is retweeting Christian nationalists saying that women should not have the right to vote. Your point of view on this issue, Emily, Pearl, is well represented in government right now.
I don't even really believe, yeah, okay, would we be more conservative? Sure. Would I risk all females not being able to vote? No. And I don't really think females believe that. I think they say these things online to get male validation.
Savannah, are you a pick-me? Are you doing pick-me stuff?
I'm married. I don't need to be picked. I've already been picked.
Yeah, but every single thing you say is literally appealing to men and usually hating on women as well.
All these other women who are advocating for women to go back to the kitchen and raise children and submit to your husband or whatever. Do you think when your dream is achieved that they're not coming for your podcast microphone too? When it is illegal for women to vote, or to have jobs, or to have a bank account, do you think you will be the sole exception that will still be allowed to have a Patreon? And again, let me expand this conversation, because like I said, we have all kinds of right-wing pick-me's out here. All kinds of, traitors. Just a couple of days ago, it was reported that the Supreme Court was thinking about reopening the gay marriage question. Gay marriage, which has been a settled issue since 2013, now back on the chopping block, thanks to this new ultra-conservative majority on the Supreme Court. And I was just thinking, about a couple of weeks ago, this other conservative influencer, Robbie Soav, I don't know, dropped some engagement photos of him with his fiance. And good for them. I'm happy for them. But of course, the reaction from Robbie's fan base was predictably homophobic as shit. Ew, take a parasite cleanse and return to God. Oh, congrats, bro, but stop goofing around with the boys. Let's see the lovely bride. Congratulations, when will you buy your first trafficked baby boy? Just insane shit. And also people going after him because apparently he was married to a woman before this. And again, I'm not here to browbeat gays for being conservative, but for the ones who make a living evangelizing conservative values to your straight male audience, you need to understand that your audience fundamentally fucking hates you, and that the political movement that you identify with and advocate for ends with you losing your rights, and if the most extreme voices had their way, probably your life too. Here's another example. This was also going semi-viral in the last week as well. It's this gay Republican congressional intern who posted a carousel on Instagram, including a picture of him fanboying at Mike Johnson's office, as well as him at a music festival. And I'm not showing his name. I mean, he's barely an influencer, and he's also looks like he's 19. But again, it's the cognitive dissonance required to live like this. Like, dog, you're popping at a music festival that your boss probably believes is like a hive of degenerates who should all be shot. Here's a couple banger quotes, actually, from this kid's political hero, Mike Johnson. Homosexual marriage is the dark harbinger of chaos and sexual anarchy that could doom even the strongest republic. Homosexual relationships are inherently unnatural, and the studies clearly show are ultimately harmful and costly for everyone. Society cannot give its stamp of approval to such a dangerous lifestyle. Polygamists, polyamorous, pedophiles, and others will be next in line to claim equal protection. They already are. There will be no legal basis to deny a bisexual the right to marry a partner of each sex or a person to marry his pet. That's who you're working for, big dog. Though to be fair, dark harbinger of chaos and sexual anarchy would go pretty hard on a shirt. But real quick, actually, let's go back to a familiar face.
2013. That's when California legalized same-sex marriage. I don't care who you marry whoever you want. Why is it shoved down our throat? Why are we still celebrating? I understand, have a parade, have fun. Cool, 2013, do that. Maybe 2014, I get it. Why are we still doing it?
Yes, I keep coming back to Emily, who, again, apart from her trad contemporaries, continuously tries to stake out a middle ground on some of these social issues. Here, she's essentially doing the oh, I don't mind gays, but just don't do it near me. I don't mind gay marriage, but I mean pride? The traffic, it's gratuitous. Well, Emily, to answer your question, we still have pride because the attacks on marriage equality aren't stopping, thanks to your friends. But again, we have another interesting moment here, where her pick-me grift runs up against like her advocating for something that she really does not approve. White girl from LA, probably has gay friends. As a matter of fact, she recently appeared in a photo with some mean gays in the Hamptons. And I understand that, because I also aspire to be chilling with the mean gays in the Hamptons. But here's what Morgan, that other lady with HPV, wrote in response to that. Heathens, this is where your movement is at, Emily. It's not too late to tap out. You can go back to doing Erewhon smoothies and aloe try-on hauls. You don't need to be a Nazi, I assure you. These people will never like you or respect you, no matter how much you performatively shit on pride festivals. And I'd be remiss, of course, if I didn't mention the racism in these conservative circles, which we already saw a little bit of. But for black conservatives or any kind of minority trying to make it in this right-wing influencer sphere, they are constantly rediscovering just how racist these people are that they're trying to appeal to.
Never thought the leopards would eat my face. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my face.
Again, surprise, surprise, when you foster a conservative white male audience, which you attract by shitting on members of your own group, that audience is going to be racist towards you too. I am reminded constantly of Vivek Ramaswamy, who is one of those culture war warriors who also ran for president, hearing what the main critique of his candidacy was from Ann Coulter.
Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president, but I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
Shocking. Your entire career is based off of trafficking and white supremacy, and your supporters end up being white supremacists who hate you too. And I'm not going to spend too much time on these black conservative creators because it's the same pick-me dynamic at play, and I also don't want to come across as sounding like Joe Biden.
So if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
But it's the same fairly obvious point, the same as the women we looked at, which is if you make your career reinforcing stereotypes in order to make money off your racist white audience, there is going to be some danger in that territory. And I watched a great video on this by Antonio Speaks, who I don't know, but I've been binging his stuff. It's good. The video is called Black Conservative Fatigue. I'll link it below. But look, the reason I'm airing the clip out on all these weirdos now is that I feel like we are in the dog caught the car moment. We're in the end times, we're in the end game. What these right-wing pick-me's of all flavors have worked towards, even if their motive was primarily money, they're achieving it. The percentage of American boys who actually believe in like basic gender equality is tanking. Men aged 18 to 21 in this country favor Republicans by a 23-point gap. Globally, the percentage of young men who believe, quote, a woman's place is in the home is skyrocketing. So we're losing a generation here, and we can talk about solutions another day, but for the pick-me's who advocated for this, I just wish that they would consider if they're really okay with like the world that they're creating. I've never watched the Handmaid's Tale show, but I've read the book, and I'll always remember the character Serena Joy, who was like this far-right activist, passionate anti-feminist, who ended up being instrumental in creating the Society of Gilead, where basically women had no rights. And yeah, like surprise, surprise, she was not happy in this new society that she helped create where she had no rights. And I'm not saying we're like 2 weeks away from Gilead, okay? I'm saying we're like 2 years away, or 20, or 200. My point is, do we really want to find out? Being anti-Gilead is like the easiest thing you can do. And I'd rather be too cautious than too late, because when you lose your rights, you might never get them back. What a cheery thought, Marc. Holy Can we talk about Labubu's now? Sure we can, audience. Let's just make sure nobody else here has anything else for us today.
Like, at least have the balls to chop your balls off, you know? If you're going to try to push this down my throat that you're a woman, at least have the balls to chop your dick off, okay?
Nope, we're good. Let's bring in the Labubu's.